Welcome to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo with the April 17th, 2024, 218th edition, always broadcasting from the Cellmark Studios. Colleen Daniel, she's out there in Studio West, and we're here with the About Mansfield news team. Coming up today, as always, Mansfield news, talk, and information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield trivia question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance. Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week. School board candidate eligibility remains inconclusive.
Mansfield to offer rideshare service this summer.
Hawaiian Falls prepares to launch the 2024 season.
And in sports, Legacy softball freshman helps boost team to first place.
And in the talk segment, Steve wraps up his talk about the future of journalism with former Star Telegram columnist O.K. Carter. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
This is Paul Duncan with Trinity Solar Services. That's right, solar. Back in the 1960s, NASA used solar cells in their space missions. But get this, the very first solar cells were actually invented back in 1883. Solar energy has made great strides over the past 140 years, but one theme remains constant: solar works. Solar panels are the MVPs of renewable energy. While reducing carbon emissions and taking a stand against climate change, solar panels can also help to greatly reduce your electric bill. Trinity Solar Services is your sun-powered solutions, and we want to deck out your home with top-notch Tier 1 panels without breaking the bank. Reach out to us today for a complimentary quote. Trinity Solar Services is a Mansfield-based company that's all about building relationships through good old-fashioned, family-owned business values. Find us online at trinitysolarservices.com. That's trinitysolarservices.com.
Are you ready to take advantage of falling mortgage interest rates in the coming months? This is Roger with the Roger and Beth team. With housing demand predicted to increase across the DFW Metroplex, the Roger and Beth team are standing by to help move you and your family forward. No move in your future? That's okay too. It's time for your annual review of your real estate portfolio, and we're happy to help. Contact us at homesinmansfield.com. That's homesinmansfield.com.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hi, I'm James Sellers, CEO and founder of Cellmark Corporation, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Voters will take to the polls starting on Monday, as early voting will begin for 2 school board trustee seats and 5 Mansfield ISD bond propositions. The big question mark on the ballot this year is the eligibility of School Board Place 2 candidate Dr. Angel Hidalgo. Recent revelations from text messages and emails indicate that both school district employees and board members were allegedly aware of potential eligibility issues surrounding Hidalgo's candidacy for months. Hidalgo, a Spanish instructor at Tarrant County College, is facing off against Dr. Jandel Crutchfield, an associate professor of social work at UT Arlington, in the upcoming May 4th election, with early voting commencing on April 22nd.
That's right, Colleen. Community residents and parents have raised concerns about Hidalgo's residency status within the district and whether he meets the necessary qualifications to run for the school board. Specifically, there are doubts about whether he has been registered at a consistent voting address within the district for the required duration of 6 months preceding the election. The controversy deepened when it was revealed that the district was unable to remove Hidalgo from the ballot due to a missed deadline on February 23rd. Records indicate that doubts about about Hidalgo's eligibility were raised even before the deadline. Despite ongoing scrutiny, the district is sticking with its inconclusive decision with no word on whether there will be a conclusive determination, stating that they are still reviewing the matter. While Hidalgo remains inconclusive, the district maintains its stance, asserting that his opponent, Dr. Crutchfield, is indeed eligible to run.
Mansfield police apprehended a homicide suspect linked to a shooting Tuesday night. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Stephen Shane Foster, fled the scene but was apprehended without incident around 11 p.m. at a residence in Midlothian. The shooting occurred on Monticello Drive in Mansfield Tuesday night around 9 p.m. Police responded to the scene only to find a man wounded by gunfire. He passed away after being rushed to Methodist Mansfield Medical Center. The identity of the deceased will be released pending notification of next of kin by the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office. The incident stemmed from a domestic dispute involving the female resident's ex-fiancé and ex-boyfriend. Foster now faces serious charges, including murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and tampering with evidence. The City of Mansfield has announced a strategic partnership with Trinity Metro to introduce an innovative on-demand rideshare service to the community this summer. Starting July 15th, Mansfield residents will have access to a 6-month pilot micro-transit program facilitated by the Regional Transportation Council and the City of Mansfield. This service revolutionizes local transportation by allowing customers to summon rides via the GoPass app or by phone, facilitating convenient pickups and drop-offs at any location within city limits. The pilot program will deploy 3 vans, one of which will be an ADA-accessible vehicle, ensuring inclusivity for all residents. Individuals aged 15 and above can utilize the service to travel anywhere within Mansfield. For those under 15, adult supervision is required. The minivan service hours will run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, with trips priced at $3 each, with an option for a day pass at $5. Additionally, veterans and seniors aged 65 and above can enjoy a discounted fare of $2.50 per trip. This rideshare initiative follows the successful implementation of a similar rideshare offering in neighboring cities like Fort Worth, Grand Prairie, and Arlington. 80% of the funding has been sourced from federal channels, while 20% is from local contributions. Again, the microtransit pilot program starts June 15th here in Mansfield.
You've seen it along Highway 360 for the past 16 years. Yeah, we're talking about Hawaiian Falls right there at Heritage Parkway and 360. And Hawaiian Falls has announced new attractions and enhanced amenities at its water park here in Mansfield for the 2024 season. And it kicks off in early May. With us on the phone to talk about Hawaiian Falls, the new attractions, the enhanced amenities, is the Chief Marketing Officer for Hawaiian Falls, Ron McKenzie. Welcome to About Mansfield.
Good afternoon. It's hard to believe with our 50-degree temperatures this morning that water park season is around the corner, but it is absolutely around the corner, and we're excited to get started.
16 years here in Mansfield. I remember when back in May of 2008 when you first opened, and it every year it draws excitement for those both young and young at heart.
The opening up a water park is sort of the signal that summer is here and fun times are ahead. People start thinking about ways to have fun and cool off. So our park has been such a big part of the Mansfield community, and we really love serving in Mansfield, and it's a great community to be a part of and partner with and continue to create memories for residents.
Let's talk about these new attractions here at the Hawaiian Falls Mansfield, the Lava Launch and Mount Doom.
Yeah, well, we're really kind of leaning into a new volcano theme. Our Lava Launch ride is a drop-right castle water ride that has been in the park. We've been working with the ride manufacturer on some enhancements and improvements to the ride operation and experience. And as a part of that, we decided to retheme it and have some fun with sort of a volcano-oriented theme. It is simply just an exciting, exhilarating free-fall ride where you drop significantly at a high rate of speed into a splash of water. But the really interesting and cool part about the ride is that you enter the ride through a little capsule that closes on you. and it's got a trap door underneath that you have no idea when that trap door is going to open and send you on your way. So it is one of the more popular rides in the park, and we're happy to reimagine it and retheme it and reintroduce it to our guests once again for the 2024 season.
Lava launch at the top of Mount Doom. That sounds wonderful. Right. There's also the debut of Ohana Hall. Let's talk about that.
There's two commodities in a water park. One is obviously water. The other is shade. And so Ohana Hall will give us the opportunity to provide a pretty good-sized shade structure that's adjacent to and attached to both our restaurant and our bar area at the park. It just provides an additional area for guests to sit and enjoy one another, get out of the heat, have a refreshing drink or a snack or a meal together before going out and enjoying the park. And we'll also use Ohana Hall as sort of the centerpiece for some of the special events and activities and things that we're doing throughout the course of the season.
One thing that I've always liked about Hawaiian Falls has been the special events that take place. And so you've got the two new attractions coming in. You've got an entire summer calendar of special events, starting with Cinco de Mayo.
That's right. Yeah, that's what's exciting is not only the rides and attractions, but also trying to make the experience fun and different a little bit every time our guests visit us. So you mentioned our season kicks off actually with our season pass holder preview weekend. It also happens to be Cinco de Mayo. So we're combining those two activities into one with, special drinks and meals and just different activities and fun things for our guests to enjoy Cinco de Mayo for our season pass holder weekend. And then the following weekend, not too long after that, our opening day is May 11th to the general public, and we'll be celebrating Mother's Day all weekend long. Moms will get a special gift when they enter the park and also get free admission to the park. So we're kicking off the first 2 weekends of operation, as you said, with some fun and exciting special events.
And I'm seeing that Mom will also get a special superhero cape.
We need to really make sure that we take care of them. They are the superheroes in our life, right? So we want to make sure that every mom is acknowledged by getting a superhero cape.
To conclude the month of May, a little tip at the hat to our military and first responders.
Right. Where our plan obviously is to celebrate our military community. Everybody either with a valid military ID or retired military ID gets into the park for free, and we'll work with our local partners in the Mansfield community to also celebrate our first responders and have some special displays at the park on that day as well.
Loving the special events. I'm seeing 6 different special events taking place in the month of June, from Prince and Princess Day to what is a Champion Day celebration?
We actually do 2 of those through the course of the year. We'll do one in June and one in July. We open up an hour earlier. We let our Special Olympic champions come into the park for free to enjoy the park in a slightly less crowded environment. We'll have some exclusive access. They can enjoy the park in a way maybe they wouldn't be able to enjoy it during the course of the regular operating day. And then their companions, family members, will be able to get in the park that day just for $10. So if you bring your Special Olympic champion, they get in free, and then the families and chaperones get in for $10. We also do that again in July. On July 23rd. So we actually do 2 of those. And we've been doing those actually for quite some time. They're one of our favorite days of the year. We enjoy doing that. So we want to make sure we give everybody a chance to come out. That's why we do it twice.
Now, I know in early May, you're doing Mother's Day. Are you also planning on honoring the dads?
Absolutely. We can't ignore the dads, all right? I'm one of them. So I make sure that the dads got their day as well. So similar to Mother's Day, we will actually, all the dads get in free on Father's Day, and then we'll have a special dad version of the superhero cape for Father's Day as well, in addition to some specialty drink and food and beverage items. I should mention that our food and beverage offerings are slightly different from Mother's Day as well. We'll be doing things like mimosas and then special Mother's Day snacks as well.
Talk about the world's largest swimming lesson.
Yeah, so that's actually an international effort to teach water safety skills and techniques. So we actually open again the park earlier, and anybody who pre-registers, the registration is absolutely free. You can do it for free. Our lifeguard team, which are really the heartbeat of all of our water parks, will spend an hour just teaching some basic swimming techniques, talk about water safety, make sure as the summer continues to get warmer, that everybody just has general awareness about being safe in the water and our lifeguards will teach them some of those techniques and skills so they leave a little bit more informed and maybe with some basic skills to help them if they should ever get in trouble in the water.
And again, that's on June 20th, the world's largest swimming lesson. And in the interest of time here, folks can go to the Hawaiian Falls website and take a look at the other special events, the sunsets at Hawaiian Falls, halfway to Christmas, Independence Day, National Water Park Day, and the list goes on and on. Ron, how can people get season passes?
Season passes are absolutely the way to go. They pay for themselves in 2 visits. Right now, our price is $59.99. That includes admission to all 3 of our Hawaiian Falls parks, Mansfield, Roanoke, and also down in Waco, Texas, if you go down there. You can get season passes very simply just by going hawaiianfalls.com, picking the Mansfield property and buying your season pass, and you'll be good to go. Again, unlimited visits. You get into the park a half an hour early, and you also get 20% savings on food and beverage purchases and cabana rentals. So it's a great deal. If you're looking for something to keep your kids or family busy during the course of the summer, you just can't beat it. And it's close.
And if you've got teen kids, are you hiring?
Absolutely. We are always hiring. So many great kids in this area. And we typically, once we hire them, they generally like to come back and work for us every summer. So everything from lifeguards to park services to food and beverage, to our admissions team members. We're like little cities, so we have different kinds of jobs for everybody. So absolutely just go out to the hfalls.com site, click on that employment tab, and it'll tell you about all the opportunities as well as how to apply.
Again, coming May of this year, when Hawaiian Falls opens, summer has begun. And for 16 years here in Mansfield, it's been a blessing not only to go and get wet and swim around and have fun, but also, again, employment for one of the great places to work here in Mansfield. So Ron McKenzie, Chief Marketing Officer with Hawaiian Falls, appreciate your time, and thanks for being on About Mansfield.
Well, thanks for having us, and we look forward to seeing everybody out in the park this summer.
Legacy softball roars into the playoffs, and we'll talk about it because sports is next.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this: an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a graduation or school function, art exhibition, or birthday or anniversary party. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
I'm Philip Washington, Chief Investment Officer of Stonehill Wealth Management and host of the Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. First book I read in college was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life. And since then, I've read tons and tons of books on money. And what I've done is taken those lessons, simplified them, and I talk about those lessons on my podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. So come hang out with us. We're on every major platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Wealth Building Made Simple.
In sports, as the regular season winds down for girls softball, the Legacy Lady Broncos are gearing up for the playoffs. As of this recording, the Broncos have posted a 22-7-2 record overall, 11-1 in district play, and are currently on a 7-game winning streak. Much of the Broncos' success goes to freshman standout Hope Gaudio, who bounces around the field from catcher, shortstop, and center fielder. Gaudio, who goes by the name of Lily, leads the Lady Broncos in batting average, on-base percentage, hits, doubles, triples, home runs, RBIs, slugging percentage, and fielding percentage, all while taking AP Human Geography, Advanced Chemistry, Advanced Geometry, and Advanced English, and maintaining a 4.5 grade point average. About Mansfield reached out to Gaudio earlier this week by email, and she responded stating, quote, "An interesting fact about me is that I actually do not catch on my national travel team, 16U Texas Glory. I'm actually a middle infielder and third baseman majority of the time, so the time behind the plate has been great to sharpen my skills and make me a more marketable utility player." She concludes with, "I can also move my ears, which I have found a lot of people cannot do." Lily Gaudio, and to the rest of the Lady Broncos, Good luck in the playoffs. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, you can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Again, that voicemail, 817-435-2938. We have a couple of announcements you should know about. First, our school board candidate interviews are now available on the About Mansfield website. Visit aboutmansfield.com and spend 30 minutes with each of the candidates. Again, aboutmansfield.com. At the top of the page, click on School Board Interviews. Early voting starts on Monday, so be a prepared voter. Also, About Mansfield is a proud sponsor of the upcoming Mom Boss Expo happening on Saturday, April 20th, from 10 to 3 at 1218 Debbie Lane. There will be over 60 unique Mansfield-based vendors, as well as food trucks, giveaways, photo ops, and free shopping bags. The free and open to the public Mom Boss Expo was created to support local entrepreneurs, and all of the expo profits will be going to the Mansfield Public Library and the Mansfield Animal Shelter. So take note and make a note to visit the Mom Boss Expo happening Saturday, April 20th, 10 to 3 at 1218 Debbie Lane. Also this coming Saturday, it's National Husband Appreciation Day, which serves as a reminder to take some time out of your day to appreciate your husband for his support, his company, and for being a part of your life. Now, I choose this day specifically not only because I'm a husband whose wife appreciates 365 days a year. But according to our stats, the majority of our listeners are women. So listen up, ladies. Here's some ideas how to make your Husband Appreciation Day special. How about a personalized gift, such as a custom-made item, a photo album of your memories together, or a handwritten love letter expressing your gratitude? Plan a surprise date, cook his favorite meal, create a relaxing atmosphere, let him use the TV remote, express your gratitude, or how about renew your vows? Remember, the most important thing about Husband Appreciation Day is to make your husband feel loved, appreciated, and cherished. Customize your celebration based on his preferences and personality to create a meaningful and memorable experience for the both of you.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Spring into fitness. Are you getting the 4 types of exercise? I'm Angel Biasatti, and you'll hear more next in Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
What's happening in the real estate market? I'm Beth Steinke, and I'm going to shed some light on the trends we are seeing and how to position yourself for success today on the Mansfield Real Estate Report.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, I'll be talking about a cocktail that is a tropical storm of rum, passion, citrus, and vibrant sweetness unleashed.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a Level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Congratulations to Daniel Ray, who knew that prior to its name change in 1940, Highway 287 was called State Highway 34. When we come back, this week's trivia question. This is About Mansfield.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right here, right now, for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield trivia question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. Colleen, it's your turn.
Well, Steve, Mansfield ISD's R.L. Anderson Stadium was the lone hotspot for Friday night lights for many years here in Mansfield. To accommodate a growing school district, Mansfield ISD constructed a second and much larger facility, Vernon Newsom Stadium. This week's trivia question is, what year did Vernon Newsom Stadium open, and what is its official seating capacity? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, in what year did Vernon Newsom Stadium open, and what is its official seating capacity? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Rosalie Gilbert, Cultural Arts Supervisor for the City of Mansfield. You're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here with details you need to know in Methodist Mansfield News to Know. Angel.
Welcome, fitness enthusiasts, to a journey into the world of exercise as we transition into spring and summer. Today, we'll explore the significance of incorporating 4 types of exercise into your routine for a holistic approach to fitness and well-being. Endurance exercise, also known as aerobic or cardio exercise, gets your heart pumping, your lungs working harder. It's activities like brisk walking, jogging, or dancing. It improves your heart and lung health. It aids in weight management and enhances our overall well-being. Strength training focuses on building and maintaining muscle mass and strength. Lifting weights, uses resistance bands, or practicing yoga strengthen muscles, prevent bone loss, and improves mobility and stability. Flexibility exercises, such as stretching or yoga, enhances our joint mobility, reduces injury risk, and relieves muscle tension. Balance exercises like Tai Chi or balance drills improves our stability and coordination, and they help us reduce the risk of falling and injuries. For those of us returning to exercise after a period of inactivity, it's essential to start slowly and consult with a doctor if needed. Remember, you don't have to incorporate all 4 types of exercise into everyday sessions. Mix it up, have fun, and prioritize movement for a healthy, happier you. As we embrace the beauty of spring, let's also embrace the opportunity to prioritize our health and fitness. Whether it's a beautiful walk in the park, a strength training session, or a yoga practice, let's make movement a priority and reap the countless benefits of a well-rounded fitness routine. I invite you to come walk at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, weather permitting. And remember to keep moving, keep smiling, and keep striving to be your best self. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Realtor Beth Steinke has important information for you in the Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. Beth?
Let's do a quick recap of the recent housing market before we start digging into the future predictions. In 2021, we saw the largest number of homes ever sold at 6.1 million. That was fueled by pent-up demand from COVID and by artificially low interest rates. In hindsight, it was really fueled by that increased affordability, a word I'm going to refer to multiple times today. In June of 22, it was clear that the Federal Reserve intended to stem the then rising inflation by raising interest rates and doing it with speed. Wasting no time, interest rates crested 5% and then 6%. And by the end of 2022, interest rates had peaked at slightly over 7%. That put a huge damper on the real estate frenzy that had been created by those historically low interest rates. And the result was pretty serious for the real estate industry and for home buyers too. In 2023, we saw the fewest number of homes sold since the early 1990s, down to just over 4 million. We anxiously awaited every Fed meeting to see if this would be the one where they decided to give relief and lower interest rates, but no such luck. Throughout 2023, interest rates hovered between 7% and 8% for most borrowers, creating a home affordability crisis for many families. Those with real estate crystal balls were predicting that interest rates would begin to fall towards the end of 2023. Well, that didn't happen. And then they said spring of 2024, and that doesn't look good either with the inflation numbers on the rise again. Now they are hoping for the fall of 2024, but it very well could be next year before we get interest rate relief. The economy is performing very well despite inflation. The Wall Street Journal released a report this week that indicates by all measures the economy is going strong. Jobs are good, unemployment is low, and Americans are still spending. And that all signals a strong and solid economy, despite inflation. For the first time in recent decades, it suddenly has become cheaper to rent than to buy. As such, it would stand to reason that people would choose then not to buy, right? Well, not entirely. We are certainly still seeing homes being sold, but buying behavior has definitely shifted. Buyers in DFW are coming to terms with what they can and cannot afford. As a real estate professional, I now talk in terms of payment these days before we ever talk about home price. I spoke with a first-time homebuyer who called me on one of my listings this week, and here's a quick synopsis of how a portion of that call went. Me. How much would you like your payments to be? Their response. Around $2,000 is comfortable for us. Great. My next question was, how much will you be putting down on the house? They responded, the minimum. We haven't saved up a ton yet. Okay, no problem. Let's talk about what that might look like. The house they called me about was $335,000. I think most people would agree that a $335,000 house is generally an affordable price point. Well, that is until interest rates created an affordability crisis. So I ran some numbers for them. First, they would need approximately $20,000 down between down payment and closing costs in this price point. And their payments would be nearly $3,200 a month with that minimum down payment. In order to get their payments closer to $2,000, the home price would need to be under $225,000. And of course, they have the internet. They know there aren't any homes in the area in which they want to live that are in a livable condition or in a size they prefer at that price point. This buyer may need to reevaluate the amount they allocate each month to housing or get creative with putting more money down to keep that payment at a more comfortable level for them. Now let's project a payment scenario for a house that is listed at the median home value in Mansfield of $500,000. That home with a minimum down payment would cost you a whopping $4,700 a month at today's interest rates. But this doesn't only affect home buyers. This affordability crisis affects home sellers too. I'd say 50% or more of today's home sellers will be turning around and buying something as well. Many are finding that their monthly payments, even with large down payments, are doubling, potentially for less house than they have today. For those that aren't looking to buy another home after they sell theirs, they may still fall victim to fewer buyers in the marketplace in general, and homes are taking longer to sell. And then there are some homes that are performing better than others. Smaller, more modest homes with a smaller and more modest price tag are selling really well, along with some neighborhoods with significant appeal. Homes that have had recent renovations, outdoor living spaces, and other features that separate them from their competition and are well priced are seeing good buyer demand. And it does seem like the higher price points, that's over $800,000, are performing quite well, and those homes are moving. But those sellers who are expecting their homes to perform like it would have in 2021, or who are not able to be patient as days on market continue to increase, has left some sellers struggling to understand the issues facing buyers, namely that lack of affordability. And competition has increased for their potential buyers' attention. My advice to a buyer in today's market is to connect and work with a knowledgeable realtor to talk through all of the possibilities and opportunities that do exist in 2024. And rest assured, there are some. And those opportunities take patience and creativity and stamina. But I truly find that where there is a will, there is a way, and your realtor won't stop until the goal is accomplished. Now let's get to this week's Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. As of April 15th, there are 145 active and available homes for sale in Mansfield, excluding new construction. Homes this week range from a $170,000 for a 900 square foot home, with the list topping out for a property recently reduced to $2.1 million for a 5,600 square foot 5-year-old home with a pool. The list even includes a full duplex opportunity for investors. The average time on market currently sits at 78 days. If we add in new construction homes, the number of available properties more than doubles from 145 resale homes to a total of 308. March statistics are not available yet, and I look forward to bringing those to you when they drop. One thing is for sure, it's going to be an interesting ride while we wait for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. Do you have a real estate question I can answer? Send me a message via email at info@aboutmansfield.com. For the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Beth Steinke with Century 21 Judge Fight.
Shaken or stirred, either way, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain whips up a New Orleans classic with a side of history in the cocktail of the week. Brian.
This week's cocktail of the week is the Hurricane. The Pat O'Brien Hurricane is an iconic cocktail that has become synonymous with the vibrant spirit of New Orleans and has a fascinating history that dates back to the 1940s. The birth of this renowned drink is closely tied to Pat O'Brien's Bar, a beloved establishment in the heart of the French Quarter. It all began during World War II when whiskey, a popular spirit at the time, was in short supply due to rationing efforts. However, rum was still readily available, and as it was being imported from the Caribbean. Bar owners in New Orleans found themselves with an abundance of rum and needed a creative way to use it up. At Pat O'Brien's Bar, the solution came in the form of a new cocktail creation. The bar's owner, Pat O'Brien, surprisingly, along with his head bartender, Louis Culligan, set out to craft a cocktail that would not only utilize the excess rum, but also captivate their patrons' taste buds. The result was the Hurricane, a sweet, potent concoction that would go on to become a New Orleans legend. Now note, if you go to New Orleans these days, they do not serve the original Pat O'Brien's recipe. They use a powdered mix, and it pales in comparison to the original. But after I give you the recipe, I'm also going to give you the bar where you can find the original Pat O'Brien's recipe. But the original recipe was a simple yet effective combination of ingredients. The cocktail called for 2 ounces of light rum, 2 ounces of dark rum, 2 ounces of passion fruit syrup, and 1 ounce of fresh lime juice. The passion fruit syrup is the key component of the Hurricane, which added a unique tropical flavor and a vibrant red hue to the drink. The syrup was made in-house at Pat O'Brien's using a blend of passion fruit puree, sugar, and water. To make the perfect Pat O'Brien Hurricane, here are your step-by-step instructions. Start by filling a hurricane glass or a tall glass with ice. The hurricane glass, named after the cocktail itself, is typically shaped like a hurricane lamp and holds around 20 ounces. You're going to pour 2 ounces of light rum over the ice. The light rum serves as the base of the cocktail and provides a smooth, subtle flavor. Next, add the 2 ounces of dark rum. The dark rum adds depth and complexity to the drink, along with notes of caramel and spice. Measure out 2 ounces of the passion fruit syrup and pour it over the rum. The sweetness of the syrup balances out the strength of the alcohol and gives the hurricane its signature topical taste. Squeeze 1 ounce of fresh lime juice into the glass. The lime juice is going to add a bright citrusy tang that cuts through the sweetness of the syrup and complements the rum. Using a long bar spoon, stir the ingredients together until it's well combined. The goal is to ensure that all the flavors are evenly distributed throughout the drink. Garnish the hurricane with an orange slice and a maraschino cherry if you must. The orange slice is typically perched on the rim of the glass, while the cherry is skewered and placed inside the drink. Serve the hurricane with a straw and enjoy responsibly. The hurricane is an extraordinarily strong cocktail, so it's essential to sip it slowly and savor the flavors. Now, I tell people all the time who ask me where to go in New Orleans, what do you do? And I said, basically, there are 2 rules to follow when you go to New Orleans. First thing, don't drink any drinks that come in unique or funny shaped glasses, like the hurricane, or the hand grenade, or the shark bite. Avoid those at all costs because you will pay the price the next day. The other tip, this is the pro tip, avoid any cocktail that is fluorescent in color. Again, you want to avoid those because they're typically laden with sugar, and sugar is what gives you the pains the next day. But as the hurricane gained popularity at Pat O'Brien's, it became a staple to the bar's menu. The drink's success is partly due to its unique presentation, absolutely, and Pat O'Brien served the hurricane in the glass shaped like a hurricane glass and makes it instantly recognizable. But the hurricane's fame soon spread beyond the walls of Pat O'Brien's. During Mardi Gras, the cocktail became a beloved choice among revelers looking to enjoy a sweet and, believe me, potent drink while parading through the streets of New Orleans. The hurricane's popularity continued to grow and eventually became an iconic symbol of the city's vibrant drinking culture. Over time, variations of the hurricane recipe emerged, with bartenders putting their own spin on the classic cocktails. Some versions incorporated additional fruit juices, such as pineapple or orange, while others experimented with different types of rum or alternative sweeteners. However, the original Pat O'Brien Hurricane recipe remains the gold standard, showcasing the perfect balance of light rum and dark rum, passion fruit syrup, and lime juice. The combination creates a harmonious blend of tropical flavors that transport the drinker to the lively streets of New Orleans with each sip. The hurricane story is a reminder of the ingenuity and adaptability of the human spirit, particularly in the face of adversity. Born out of the necessity during a time of scarcity, the hurricane not only helped Pat O'Brien's bar survive, but gave the world a timeless cocktail that embodies the essence of New Orleans. So the next time you find yourself in New Orleans, however, you want to find your way further down Bourbon Street to Jean Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop and Bar, located on Bourbon Street in the heart of the New Orleans French Quarter. It's a historic building shrouded in mystery and intrigue. The structure dates back to the late 18th century and is believed to be one of the oldest surviving buildings in the city. According to legend, the building serves as a front for the illicit activities of Jean Lafitte, the notorious pirate and privateer who operated in the Gulf of Mexico during the early 19th century. Lafitte and his brother Pierre allegedly used the blacksmith shop as a cover for their smuggling operation, storing contraband goods in the building's hidden chambers and passageways. The Lafitte brothers were known for their daring exploits and their ability to evade capture by the authorities. They were also instrumental in helping defend New Orleans against the British during the War of 1812, providing ammunition and supplies to the American forces led by General Andrew Jackson. But despite their contributions to the city's defense, the Lafitte brothers were eventually forced to abandon New Orleans in 1820 after being implicated in illegal activities. The blacksmith shop, however, remained a fixture in the French Quarter, evolving over time to serve various purposes. In the early 20th century, the building was transformed into a bar, capitalizing on its association with Jean Lafitte and the city's vibrant drinking culture. The bar, which still opens today, maintains a rustic and mysterious atmosphere, with its exposed brick wall, flickering candles, and weathered wooden beams. Visitors to Jean Lafitte's blacksmith shop can soak up the building's rich history while sipping on the traditional New Orleans cocktail, the Hurricane. The bar also features live music performances, adding to the lively ambiance that characterizes the French Quarter. Over the years, the building has become a very popular tourist attraction and a cherished local landmark. For me personally, it's always one of my first 3 stops whenever I get to New Orleans. And it has an enduring legacy that is a testament to the colorful and often tumultuous history of New Orleans. Today, it stands as a reminder of the city's resilient spirit and its ability to transform even the most notorious figures into beloved icons. As you step through its weathered doors into the very dimly lit interior, you can almost feel the presence of the legendary pirate. His spirit is forever entwined with the rich tapestry of New Orleans. So here's what you need to make the Jean Lafitte Hurricane. Very similar: 2 ounces of light rum, 2 ounces of dark rum, 2 ounces of passion fruit syrup, 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, 1 ounce of fresh orange juice, a half ounce of grenadine syrup, and then 151 to top. First thing you're going to do is you're going to fill a hurricane glass or a tall glass, or what they do is they serve it in a very colorful plastic cup. You're going to pour the light rum and dark rum over the ice, then add the passion fruit syrup, add the fresh lime juice and orange juice, add the grenadine syrup, which will sink to the bottom, creating a layering effect. Then using that long bar spoon, stir the ingredients. They actually toss it in the bar to combine the drink. Serve the Hurricane with a straw, or for the more daring, you just guzzle it down the glass. The key to a great Hurricane is finding the right balance between the sweetness of the passion fruit and the tartness of the lime, and finally the strength of the rum. As you savor your Jean Lafitte Hurricane, take a moment to appreciate the rich history and lively atmosphere of the French Quarter, where this iconic cocktail has become a beloved symbol of the New Orleans vibrant drinking culture. As always, I'm interested in your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And as always, until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with the conclusion of Steve's interview with O.K. Carter.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Parker James and Caden Shea from the band Olivox, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, we present part 2 of our interview with former Star-Telegram columnist O.K. Carter. Enjoy. Did you enjoy covering politics?
It's just inevitable. I can't say that I enjoy it or don't enjoy it. It just sort of comes as part of the routine. It's just part of the beat system. You know, I hate going to city council meetings. I hate going to school board meetings. Mm-hmm. I did every legislative session for the last few years I was working. I would head on down to Austin and to hang out there and talk to the state reps and thing. And I find that to be kind of peculiar, but interesting, because you're really you're getting to the level where you're really talking about power. Right. And you're really talking about people who are brokers in power, and you're talking about people who are you are awash in Machiavellian people, which is to me is quite a stimulating environment when you're around 30 people who are all trying to influence things, and generally canceling each other out.
Being here in March, I always look at it as, and I start singing, it's the most wonderful time of the year because it is political season. And that's when candidates will start to come into the studio one by one, and we get 20 minutes of time with them. But you're right, covering city council meetings is like watching paint dry.
I know.
In many occasions. And Mr. Mayor, okay.
One of the greatest things that ever happened finally was when cable TV showed up, and you could actually go home, turn on your computer, and watch the city council meeting or the work sessions on your computer.
That changes everything.
Take a few notes, have a beverage, listen to it, and also record it. Mm-hmm. So it just changed everything. I used to cover a meeting where they had mics that you would flip on and off at right in front of each one of the council people. But there was a plug on the side there that if you plugged your recorder into it, it recorded what all the mics were saying on or off. And so I kept getting these really terrific off-the-cuff quotes, and it was driving them crazy to figure out how I was doing it. And I was doing it because I one day plugged my recorder into the wrong connection. That's how I got it. So.
Oh, and it was recording everybody.
Everybody, yeah. For some reason, all the mics were on with
You were like an Arlington version of the Drudge Report.
I guess so. You had to be careful, though. You don't want to be too obvious about things.
So you don't remember your first column. Do you remember your last column?
My last one. Wow. I do not.
You don't?
I do not.
They all just went together in a big haze. And
They did. Like I say, generally 2 or 3, 4 days, it's like, okay, moving on down. Towards the end of my career, I'm doing 3 columns a week, 5 or 6 editorials. I'm handling the op-ed people, and I'm also doing letters to the editor. And generally, I'm the front man for the Arlington part of the operation.
Because by that time, you're on a skeleton's crew now, right?
Not so much towards the end. They were starting to trim it back by the time that I was there, and it just. But I've always, you either have to have an enormous quantity of talent to succeed in the writing business, or you need to be extraordinarily productive. And so I never was sure if the talent was there, but I knew the productivity was there. So I've always tried to be above average productive, I guess, which is why they ended up letting me hang around for 36, 37 years. I love being a newspaper guy, by the way. We're making fun of it now, but if I knew how to fix them, I would. And I would be quite the wealthy person. Now, I've decided they cannot be fixed.
Now we've gone from the tangible printed version to online. People are now the printed version is yesterday's news.
It is.
Whereas the digital version could be immediate.
My old office at Arlington, we had 2 giant press lines there, and the reason we had 2 giant press lines there because I thought when I went in it was the most gigantic weekly paper I'd ever seen. But what happened was they were printing 100 other publications there besides their own. They actually was that. So you're printing them, but my office was maybe 50 feet from the presses. There's a wall between us, kind of like the wall that you have on this building. But when the presses started running, I could feel the vibration coming through. And then I literally would like to take my shoes off. It was a concrete floor with a really cheap 1/4-inch carpet on it, and you could feel the press going. And if it was,
even through the gold-toed socks?
Even through the gold-toed socks. Gold-toed socks are very sensitive. Steve. So, and if they stopped when they weren't supposed to, I would literally get up and walk up in there, because by then I'm the general manager as well as the editor and as well as the columnist, and those kinds of things. But those presses are running, and they're running thousands of dollars worth of newsprint through them,
right?
Overlaid with hundreds of dollars worth of ink, being run by an expensive crew that is now going to turn it over to an insertion circulation gang who are going to put the inserts in there together, and then they're going to turn it over to yet a delivery crew, all of whom are going to need to be paid. In most newspapers, the price of your subscription was just they would hope to recover the cost of the distribution, and everything else would be covered by advertising. So, and that was the business model for 150 years. So that's why it was so hard for so many newspapers to give it up, because Star-Telegram in its heyday was making 30 to 40% pre-tax profit. That's like permission to print money. In fact, that's probably more profitable than counterfeiting. So it's just an astonishing business, and it just evaporated so quickly. I remember talking to the executive editor of the Star-Telegram, a guy named Witt, and we were discussing, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens when the bottom hits, where we will be in terms of marketability. And what I don't think either one of us realized was that there wasn't going to be a bottom. It was the end was near. It was near, with Facebook and social media and all these different online publications that were taking away things like classified revenues.
Yeah.
So Craigslist and those kinds of people. Yeah. It was like 100 little cuts as it went away. And you're talking about, now there's the online paper is the next thing up. And as you know, I write a column for a new one.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
the Arlington Report.
And I'm hopeful, but I still only give it 50-50.
Yeah.
I think, 50-50 chance of surviving long term. We'll see.
Is it true you should never argue with anyone who buys ink by the barrel?
I think that or who has a lot of servers.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or back in the day, they would. In radio, it was the same thing. Never argue with anyone who has a 50,000 watt microphone.
I guess so. I literally have had one of the things you have to decide if you're the editor or you're the columnist or you're writing editorials is that you're going to have angry people.
Yeah,
that come by. And I have had, for example, a congressman in my office so angry, so close to me, yelling in my face that I could feel little bits of saliva coming as he was screaming at me. And it wasn't even something that I did. It was something that those communists downtown did.
Well,
so, but it was just being therapeutic.
Is that a hard line to stay on, being unbiased in newspaper? I mean, that's.
I think have you been out to happy hour with journalists?
Not since you and I met at Market Street.
Well, would you call them unbiased?
I don't know. The other guys that were there, and to let the listeners know, there was a gathering of maybe a dozen?
Yeah, about a dozen journalists, washed up, retired, bought out journalists.
And I don't know.
You were the only one with a real job.
I don't know their backgrounds well enough to know if they were biased or not.
They're very. I guess.
I would assume everybody has a level of
everybody
bias.
has opinions. Everybody has bias. I mean, what you try to do is you try to set it aside.
Mm-hmm.
But the very fact that you choose to write something means that you have now decided this is an item of value. The very fact that you decide to put it at the top of the fold or to lead it off in the lifestyle tells you this is what I think our readers are most interested in, or this is what I think is most important. Those newspapers were really the gatekeepers. They were what determined what was important. And you said, well, you couldn't put it in the newspaper if it wasn't so. Well, they could, but whether it was or not, they really determined what was important. And I don't know how many newscasts you've seen when you were younger. You'd see a newscast and you look and you notice on top of a TV newscast, there's these newspapers on top of the news desk at this TV station or that TV station, and they're reading out of the New York Times and the Washington Post and other things. So even they are getting their news tips.
Well, that happened when I worked in news radio, and I heard there was another gathering of journalists at a big party, and I had met a newspaper reporter, and he says, one day I was listening to your station, and oh my gosh, the story that the reporter was delivering was word for word from my story in that morning's paper.
At least you could do is tweak it a little bit.
Yes, rewrite.
Yeah. There's a word for that. It's aggregation, aggregate writers, which means that you steal from everybody instead of just one or two.
And now with artificial intelligence, you can just take an article and tell it to rewrite it, and it's done.
I know. This very morning, I hate transcribing. I don't mind doing interviews, but, if you do a 20 or 30-minute interview, it takes you 2 or 3 hours to transcribe it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this morning, I thought, I will try this new artificial intelligence, like a turbo scribe. It's see how they do transcribe. I haven't had too good luck with them in the past. And so I ran a 30-minute recording by them, and it was like about 98% accurate. So it was actually more accurate than my typing, because my typing, I generally would type it and then I'll go ahead and fix my own mistakes before it. But then you can look at your transcription with this artificially generated text and then actually listen to them and make any kind of little tweaks that you can do. And it's going to save me a ton of money. Thank you, artificial intelligence, whoever you are, wherever you are, you sneaky little devil as you. But
whoever created it, it deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
They do. Or maybe worse. I'm not sure. It depends. We'll see how things work out.
We talk about online. What is the future of journalism?
I'm working for the Report. It's a nonprofit, online newspaper, really being supported. It's kind of like the KERA model.
Yeah.
People send money. Foundations send money. What I found about things like that is that they tend to be everybody's sweetheart cause initially, and then in a couple of 3 years, those same foundations and things find other sweetheart causes. I mean, you don't go back to that well over and over again just because you got a big grant this year. Doesn't mean they're going to give you one next year and the next and the next. They're not going to operate that sort of thing. So these online nonprofit ones, they have, I think, a very short timeline to demonstrate that they are going to be able to succeed and find enough money to operate. I mean, the Arlington Report, Fort Worth Report's running. Its expenses are mostly employees, people that they're paying. So. But even so, the $3 million or so a year that they're going to have to find, and probably more than that as they expand. So we'll see. I think I would like to be optimistic, but like I say, I'm afraid the publisher will hear this, and if so, I'm sorry, but I think 50-50 is kind of an optimist. That most, I would guess that half of them will survive more than 5 years of these online.
You're part of the Arlington Report. The Arlington Report is an offshoot of the Fort Worth Report.
Correct.
Fort Worth Report, I think you said when we had that happy hour, they had a $2 million budget.
A little more than that, yes.
Was that based on a grant or several grants?
Multiple grants and multiple contributions. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Fort Worth Report has somewhere 75,000 online subscribers, which I guess is the same as households. And the Arlington Report's only been up for about maybe 5 weeks now, 6 weeks. And they're closing on 3,000, which I find they've found to be really encouraging. I find not to be so much. But it takes people a while to discover you, and it takes people a while to develop reading habits. One of the things you discover in communication school is that people do not create extra time. Every person sort of has their own mental budget for how much time they're going to spend with media. And this includes newspapers, magazines, radio. So what happens if something new comes along is that you don't add that to you subtract something else. I mean, you don't add that time that you do. If you're sort of weekly schedule doing that kind of stuff, maybe discounting TV for entertainment is 9 or 10 hours, you will stay at 9 or 10 hours. And if you make the Fort Worth Report, the Arlington Report part of that 9 or 10 hours, it means that you're giving something else up.
Right.
So that's kind of competition happens no matter what you do.
If the Arlington Report succeeds, do you envision a Dallas Report?
I don't think this particular group is very Tarrant County oriented. By the way, they're looking at Mansfield as a future possibility and HEB as a possibility as well. So I think a lot depends on how well Arlington does. And then they'll be looking at HEB, but Mansfield is one of those places that, I mean, you're closing on what, 100,000 now?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. We're moving in,
getting close to it.
Yep.
Probably a little less than that now, but it's if you throw in the other stuff around you, I don't think it's quite big enough.
What's your advice to young writers? People going through, they're in high school, they're in journalism school and in college.
I think there are people who are driven to write.
Yeah.
And I sort of separate journalists from writers, people who write because they are writers and they want to be novelists or magazine writers, those kinds of things, or professorial types who are doing textbooks. I think the true writers keep writing, and most of them will eventually, end up with real jobs as assistant managers or Whataburger or something, because there's just not that much out there. But I really would strongly advise anyone coming up interested in communication that you really must be, if you really want to be in news, you better be devoted. Your talent level needs to be substantial. You really need to be connected with social media, and you have to be able to use multiple platforms. I mean, video and podcasting and social media and writing and these newspapers and probably a couple of things we haven't really thought of yet that are coming over the bend.
Sure. You met my producer, Andrew, before we started recording, and this is his question. What kind of job could someone with a journalism degree get that one wouldn't expect?
What I think most of the communication majors these days don't quite get is that all of these, really from mid-sized companies up, now have to communicate with in different ways. And they're going to need YouTube channels. They're going to need to maintain internet sites with readable copy. They're going to have to create social media platforms that are interesting and that bring people back repeated. As we mentioned before, there's only so much of a window that you have for people to be vested in their media reading, and you're competing for those. And some people do it, they'll go to something because they're interested in a particular product, and which is always good. But but if you're sort of in the general information business, you need to be good at all those kind of things. If you're asking, how do I get a job in the newspaper business, I would say, really think hard before you do that. It's just there'll always be some around, but there are fewer and fewer all the time. And you just really have to decide if you're going to put yourself through that, if you're going to have those sort of career changes because you're going to need to be a mobile person, willing to move about, and being pretty flexible. And see, I don't really consider all the other things we talked about as really truly being news. I mean, once you get away, even radio jobs now are really not, for the most part, about news. I mean, they're entertainment. They're not the same as they were. They're still basic music and advertising.
Right.
Public relations. Those are kind of the sticks that you can get in.
You'd mentioned Think Real Hard, and people have asked me, well, how do I get into radio? And that's a similar answer, that the radio stations are consolidating. The owners are consolidating the stations. The disc jockey is a thing of the past.
I know, and you do get a disc jockey, and you find out he's actually on 18 stations.
Right,
he's syndicated.
He's sitting in a production studio in St. Louis and reading flip cards, and then you've got talk radio. So you've got bless his heart, Rush Limbaugh was on 600 radio stations, which means he has taken the jobs of 599 other talk show hosts.
Yep.
And that's the way it is. So you're right. Think hard. Someone told me that you are the official historian of Arlington. What does that mean?
One of our warped former mayors was LG Odom.
Yeah.
Still alive. Sorry, LG, if you heard that. He's not actually warped. He's quite a swell person. But he found that my sort of focus on history all the time was very interesting. And I've written an Arlington history book, for example, and I've been involved with other things, historical articles and so forth. So he did a proclamation years ago, maybe 30 years ago, proclaiming me, official city proclaiming me the city's official, unofficial historian. So you sort of get nailed with that. And that's when I was writing things, I like to include little historical tidbits in them. I mean, this is the 22nd homicide in the last 5 years. Those kind of things where you just toss in a couple of things, or the case is reminiscent of something else that was there. Those kinds of historical sort of oddities that you throw in there. And I do this in lieu of talent. I couldn't think of a descriptive phrase, so I pulled up something historical.
Yeah.
To juice up my stories a bit. And next thing you know, some people are noticing. Also, if you're published, they think that you're an expert. The trouble, by the way, I really, if you were asking me who the world's greatest historical expert in Arlington is, it's me. But there's only 4 or 5 of us, and my advice to anybody out there who wants to be the world's greatest expert on anything is to find something with better cash flow.
Okay.
Okay.
Who are the other 4 Arlington historians?
Oh, there's a woman named Geraldine Mills, who's with the Historical Society that she's done. A couple of our other ones have perished on us. In fact, the ones that sort of introduced me to it, I started, the publisher of the Star-Telegram forced me to help a woman create her second edition of an Arlington history book that was Arlington up to 1910, and she had 3 or 4 boxes of historical materials, and this is for her second edition. So her idea of supervising me to help her with this at the publisher's insistence was that she would drink sherry while I worked the stuff through, and she had 4 or 5 boxes of historical materials, and she said, by the end of it, Carter, you'll be the world's greatest expert on Arlington history. And I remember thinking then, it doesn't sound too profitable.
No.
And it wasn't.
No. So by title only?
By title, yes. Should there be remuneration?
That's up to you. And who do you go to for remuneration?
That seems to be the nitty-gritty of the issue. Where do you go to for compensation?
Yeah.
So
The Arlington Report can be viewed online at arlingtonreport.org. And OK Carter is the columnist. Do you have any other titles there?
That's it.
Columnist.
That's it. Columnist is it. I just do the one time a week column. I'm the O guy. And in fact, I go to a weekly meeting there, and they haven't given me the code to entering the building yet.
You have to knock on the door.
I have to ring the and there's a video thing there, so they have to know, it's him again. So
he keeps coming back.
I know. I guess he's doing another column this week. So they're all very young, though. I think I may be the oldest active columnist in Texas now.
Wow.
I do. I think so. Yes.
It's quite an accomplishment.
And if you're older, feel free, call me. I'll retract that.
Okay.
You better be 82 though, or older.
Okay. What's your favorite ice cream?
Ice cream, strawberry. Yeah. I'm very plain.
Strawberry ice cream.
Strawberry ice cream. Yeah.
Everyone who sits in that chair goes through what's called the lightning round.
Uh-oh.
It's a very simple exercise.
It would have helped if you had told me this before.
Oh, it's the answers to all of them.
Mm.
It's a very simple exercise of this or that.
Okay.
And there are only 10 of them.
I got you.
So if you're
sounds a little like a talk show, I know, but go ahead.
So if you're willing,
okay,
day or night,
night person,
breaking or in depth,
breaking,
movie theater or Netflix, investigating or feature, apples or oranges,
both,
politics or human interest, dog or cat,
dogs. I got 4, no cats,
editorial or news.
Editorial.
City or country?
City.
And again, what's your favorite ice cream?
Strawberry. Was I supposed to have changed because of these in-depth questions?
There have been people out there who have changed in that 60-second piece.
Oh, they sounded like butter pecan better.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Owen, Kelton, Carter. I have a greater appreciation for what you do in the hour that we've spent.
You'll never get this hour back, Steve.
I know, but I've learned to appreciate it, and I truly appreciate having you on the show. Again, thanks for being on About Mansfield.
Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to have wasted your time.
Yeah. Coming up next week on About Mansfield, did you know that we have a crowned Mrs. Mansfield? I didn't either, and we will talk with her next week and about her quest to become Mrs. Texas. In the meantime, this is the place where you'll hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage. We will never send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Beth Steinke. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. We thank y'all for listening on behalf of the entire news team. I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.